probably get a restraining order, actually. Why are you shocked? The weather has been so insanely cold for the last couple days, but today specifically it's in the 30s, which is the worst I've had it here. Over the weekend, I went to the grocery store and I just bought my regular things. I had some chicken breasts, some produce, just normal things. And the woman was like scanning my stuff, and then she looks down and she's like, "Ma'am, are you preparing for the storm?" I'm like, "The what?" I looked so stupid. This is why I shouldn't live alone. I never know when a storm is coming. But I was like checking the weather. I check the weather every single day. And it said like the upcoming weather, the high was gonna be like 50s, the low like 30s, which is just normal to me. Like, okay, winter, cool, like that's just winter. And I had no idea that people were preparing for a storm. And I looked around, I'm like, it does look kind of crowded in here. in the grocery store, like, it is kind of different. Everyone was apparently panicking, but I mean, luckily for me, absolutely nothing happened. I mean, I'm not really sure where this like storm prediction was coming from. I know up north they had their storm, but I don't know where it was coming from for us, because I checked the weather and literally none of that was there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this is coming from. Very happy it didn't happen because I was not prepared at all. And I feel like I really need to look out for storms better because I'm alone. And I feel like I should be prepared for that. Anyway, it's so cold, so I feel like we should just read. That's the best thing to do when it's so cold. I want to start Bittersweet by Hattie Williams. This is on my TBR for January, and I think I'm gonna like it. I feel like I've been having such good reads in January. It's been a good reading month so far, and I think I'm getting better at picking for my mood. And I feel like this is gonna be a good one, so hopefully I'm right once again. This morning was intense. I woke up and the first thing I did was try to get Harry Styles tickets, which we got, and we felt like so happy and grateful, and like it felt so easy, and we were just on cloud nine. We got the tickets like 10 minutes into the sale, and yeah, the whole queuing experience, all of it was just so quick and easy for us that we had no idea how bad the sales were for everyone else. Like, we now keep seeing that there are literal news articles about how bad the sale is, and like other people, we see their experiences and we're just like, we had no idea all of this was going on, and like how extreme it was and how extreme the prices are too, because we also got them at the original lowest possible price. So feeling very grateful for that, but it was like insane to log off of our Ticketmaster and just see everyone like literally cussing Harry Styles out. Crazy stuff, but I feel very happy, and I've been on cloud nine because of it, and I've just been smiling all morning. I can't wait. I feel like that's gonna be the thing that makes my 2026. So I am currently on page 110 of Bittersweet, and this book is about a young woman named Charlie. She's 23 years old and she's a publishing assistant at
some publishing house. I'm guessing it's made up. I don't think it's real. But anyway, she's a publishing assistant, and this is how she ends up meeting her literary idol. And he is 33 years older than her, and they end up having an affair. That's all in the description. That's not a spoiler. He's married. He's 33 years older than her. It's like a mess. I really enjoyed the beginning parts, how it was written. Like, we learned a lot about her past and how she grew up, and it gave some insight into her obsession with this author, and I think it kind of makes sense when you learn how she discovered him and just the things that she's been through. You really feel some sympathy for her. But also, she's 23 years old. I don't know if you've ever read My Dark Vanessa. Obviously, that book is also about a young girl being taken advantage of, but she was in high school. And Charlie is 23, and I just feel like there's this element to it. Like, yes, she's being taken advantage of, but there's just this part of me that's like, you're 23, you should have better judgment. And so I feel bad saying this, but it's just a thought in my mind. I just feel like by 20, you should have a little bit better judgment when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I still feel sympathy for her because she's been through a lot, and I don't know, I guess it kind of makes sense why she's so obsessed with this author. I remember at the beginning parts of this book, I was thinking I like that the author of this book, not the author in the book, the author of this book isn't romanticizing this old man. She kind of just tells it as it is. Like, he's not presented to be this beautiful, perfect person. Like, it's not romantic at all. And even through the main character, Charlie, even through her inner monologue, she like grazes the topic of like, this isn't exactly what I thought it would be. This isn't how I would want it to go. Like, I'm not having as good of a time as I thought I would be. And like, this isn't as romantic as I thought. And a simple thing, like when he kissed her once and she mentioned that he had chapped lips, I was like, yeah, this old hag doesn't even have soft lips. Something like just as simple as that. Like, none of this is romantic at all. You as the reader, you're not gonna get it twisted. It's just that she's gaslighting herself in the book, and I guess maybe there's some parts of her, the character, that's trying to gaslight us too. But I do like that it's not being presented as this all-consuming type of love. Like, it's fate, even though our ages are so much apart, and even though I'm married, it's still fate. Like, we're meant for each other. It's not being presented in that way. It's not really being romanticized at all. You're reading it and you're like, ugh, men. So I appreciate that, because that's the reality of relationships like this. It's not romantic. The writing of this book is very simple, and I like that. Sometimes I find myself thinking that it's too simple though. I like it so far. I like it. It's interesting. It's also a little bit sad. I think I have really found that I like reading books about unlikable characters because it makes me feel better about myself. I really want to go outside and read, but the weather is against me. I just want to sit outside for as long as I can handle, which I'm thinking is going to be about 10 minutes. This weather is putting me in such a foul mood. I feel like it's making me an evil person. Also, sorry about this music. I have no control over that. It feels extra loud today.
not filmed much this week because I feel like I've just been waking up, and every time I wake up, I'm just desperate for it to be bedtime again. And I feel like that sounds depressing, but like not in a depressing way, just that it's so cold. I just want to be under the blankets, under the duvet again. That's it, really. Like, I just want to be in bed. I feel like it's bed weather because it's so cold, but like I'm fine. I'm not like sad or anything. I don't think seasonal sadness is getting me too badly this year or at all this year, but it's just like the warmest place is under these sheets. And so that's just where I want to be. Every morning I'm like, do I have to get up? Even in the afternoon, just so cold. Anyway, I did finish Bittersweet. It's a really short book, and I feel like I didn't have many updates because it was getting quite sad to read, and not sad in a way like you feel emotional for the characters and you feel a lot for the characters, just sad, honestly, in kind of a pathetic way. I feel so bad saying that this main character is a victim. I think my biggest issue is that she's 24, and within her inner monologue, she seems to very much know everything that she's doing wrong and her part in it that's wrong. And she just has to do it anyway, and she has to self-destruct anyway. And so much of her past and what she's been through is like horrible, and you feel so bad about that, and you understand why she's going down this path, but at the same time it's hard to watch this car crash. Like, she's just a car crash of a human being sometimes in this book because she knows better. She's literally saying it in her inner monologue. So it's like, okay, so do better. Like, literally never speak to this married man again. I'm going to do a spoiler section of this book because I feel like I need to talk about it with spoilers, but I'll leave that for the end. To continue on with my no spoiler thoughts, I know I said this earlier or yesterday, I don't know what day it is anymore. I said this sometime that I liked that the author isn't romanticizing this man or this relationship, and there was literally a point in the book where she said his breath was like faintly sour or something. And it's just like, so he's old, he's not that cute, he's not charming, and he has bad breath. What are we doing, Charlie? What are we doing? Why do you like this man? Like, if it was Chris Evans or something, I would get it, but what are we doing, Charlie? I was thinking a lot about Pretty Little Liars when I was reading this. I don't know if you've ever seen Pretty Little Liars, but since the first episode, there is a student-teacher relationship, and the teacher, his name is Ezra. He's very conventionally attractive, and he's young, and it's still very wrong, but I remember watching that in high school, and my teenage brain was rooting for them so hard. And my teenage brain was like, Ezra is so perfect and they're not doing anything wrong. Like, obviously I knew, some part of me knew that it was wrong. Like, it's scandalous to say the least, but that's the furthest I thought about how wrong it is. I never thought about how disgusting he is and what he's doing is like so gross. I never thought about it that way because he was just this cute guy, this cute young teacher. And watching that in high school was just like 100% rooting for them. That student-teacher relationship and that inappropriate relationship is romanticized so much. Well, one, just casting someone who is that conventionally attractive, you're already romanticizing it. Like, I know that there's some accuracy to that. Like, that's how it goes sometimes. Younger girls fall for older men because of just pure attraction. I get it, but that was step one of that. That was the beginning of them romanticizing it as writers. But I'm pretty sure the show ends and they end up married. Like, there was no consequence. And she's much older when they're married, obviously. She like goes to college, whatever, years pass, and they're finally in a legal relationship. But still, it's it's not right because of how they met and the power imbalance. Like, it just was not okay in any way. And I just feel like having it wrapped up nicely as, yeah, they got married in the end when she was finally of age, just feels like further romanticizing this dark type of relationship. It's like, oh yeah, if this happens to you, marry him anyway. It can end in happily ever after, when it's like, no, it probably shouldn't. You should probably get a restraining order, actually. I say all that to say, and the reason why I was thinking about all of that is because the ending of this book did have consequences. You may not like the consequences. I know I didn't, and I'm gonna talk about that in my spoiler review, but it's very real and accurate. I feel like that's exactly what would have happened in real life. And so, yeah, I think I really appreciate this author for writing it how it is. This old, disgusting man being in a relationship with someone so much younger than him, someone that works for him. There's just so much wrong about it. He's also cheating on his wife. And then the way that it ended, it makes a lot of sense. All right, I'm about to do some spoilers, and I'm gonna insert when the spoilers end. I'm gonna put it on the screen. So this is now going to be a review with spoilers. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, she reads a proof of his book because he's an author, and she mentioned the ending and how she thought the ending was going to be different, like more was going to happen. She kind of said that the ending of his book like wrapped up too nicely and in a pretty bow, and she had a whole different idea for it, and she told him this idea. And then I think within a couple days he goes into the office, and like the office is in shambles because he's changing the ending of his book, and apparently everyone's like, oh my god, this is a mess, we were meant to go to print soon, whatever, but he's changing the ending of his book. And she's like, oh. And he never mentions that again. Like, they have a whole relationship and he never ever even says anything about it. Like, not even a mention of inspiration. Like, in their private conversations, obviously I know they were hiding this whole thing and they weren't able to talk about it with anyone else, but not even in one of their private conversations alone, when they were like in his home, nothing. He just never mentions it again. He just stole her idea for the ending of the book, changed it, moved on with his life, pretending that never happened. And I was just like, we're not gonna talk about that? And she never brought it up. She like thought about it. Her inner monologue, she thought about it, and she just was fine with it. She thought that this was completely okay. I'm like, girl, what? He couldn't at least say thanks? Like, that part was so insane to me. And because this happened so early in the book, it was like one of their first conversations. Because it happened so early, I was like, surely this is gonna come up again. Like, maybe this is gonna play a part in their relationship. Maybe he's gonna be appreciative of this, and she's gonna be like, he likes my mind, he likes the way that I think, and it's gonna be a part of what they have going on. I don't know. I thought it was gonna play a part. He just never mentions it again, which that in itself plays a part in the book itself. Like, it shows you what kind of person he is. He's evil, but it's just like, that's crazy. I don't think there's anything like else throughout the book that I really want to talk about when it comes to spoilers. I mean, just reading about them was gross. Oh no, wait, I want to talk about Finn. She met a guy her age, and she had like a few normal days with people her age and this guy named Finn, and it was just like, please, just date him, just date him. And obviously that didn't happen. I was just like, girl, he's trying to save you. Like, you don't need to be saved by a man, but something's got to give, Charlie. I really just wanted her to move on with Finn and never see that old man again. Wait, one spoiler thing that I forgot to mention was that she got pregnant with his baby, And he was so horrible to her around that time, like the way that he reacted. Like, she didn't even want the baby. It's not like she was threatening to keep it or something. She made arrangements to do the abortion before she even told him, but she felt that it was necessary to tell him, which it is. And he, of course, he's just not a good person. That whole part was also just so, I probably forgot that on purpose. Like, my brain doesn't want to remember that. But on to the end, this obviously all blew up in their faces, and there was a photo of them that got published in Daily Mail or something like that. And it was one of those things where no one in the general public like really knew, and it was never like a follow-up story. Like, no one cared that much. He's an author, you know, he's not Harry Styles or something, right? No one cared that much, and so it wasn't that big of a deal to the country, I guess, but it was in the publishing house because everyone could tell that it was her. Like, no one could tell it was her without knowing her, but they knew it was her, and they obviously know Richard, and they could see easily what was going on. So that was a mess within the publishing house, and they at first told her to take a leave of absence and it was going to be paid whatever while all of this dies down. And then they eventually fired her and paid her off. And this is what I was talking about when it comes to the consequences. And it was like, it's hard to talk about that because technically he didn't suffer. But the reason why I mention it, that it felt so like accurate, is because that's probably what would happen in real life. Like, the famous, powerful, rich author goes untouched and she loses her job and she gets paid off. Like, that's pretty real. The whole thing is entirely so unfair, and I remember reading that and thinking, oh my gosh, like, she was very sad and down and she just like signed whatever she needed to sign and she couldn't deal with it. But I would have taken the whole publishing company to hell. Like, we're all going down, everyone's going down. And the other part that pissed me off is the fact that the author's wife is the one that came up with the ultimatum. Like, she was like, either Charlie gets fired, like she leaves this publishing house, or we're going to remove Richard from this publishing company and we're going to publish his books elsewhere. And that's obviously why they let Charlie go. And there were people that were also fighting for her, like people that she was closer to, her immediate like boss, and they were fighting for her and stuff. But still, that's just not, it was never gonna happen. They were never gonna allow themselves to lose a huge author over someone who was so easily replaceable. Yeah, that whole thing like really pissed me off, and I think it's just unfortunate how real that part feels. Like, that's literally how that would end. I think another part of feeling bad for the main character, but also feeling so like, girl, why are you doing this? Like, you just want to shake her, is that so many people were warning her. Obviously, her closest friends who don't know him, they were warning her, and to her it felt like, well, you don't know him, you don't understand it. And I can get that, that's what isolation does to you. But one of his friends warned her and was like, he does this. Like, he does this to Elaine, like, you're not special. And she chose not to believe him, and she chose not to take that warning. And that's when I was just like, Charlie girl, I think you're a little bit hopeless. Like, I don't know if anything can help you right now. Like, it's just gonna have to blow up in your face, which it did. And she also learned at the end, one of the people that she worked with, one of her superiors, was also taken advantage by Richard, and that there were other girls after her. Like, I think 2 more girls in between her superior and Charlie. And her superior was like, I can't believe he would do this with my assistant. Like, I never thought, I should have protected you. I never thought that he would hit so close to home again, I guess, if that makes sense. No, the part that frustrates me is that she got this warning from his friend somewhere in the middle of the book, and at the end, when she's like learning that there were other women, that she wasn't special, that it's just something that he does because he's a gross old man, she's had the audacity to be shocked. I'm like, why are you shocked? You were told. Why are you shocked? She spent so much of her time knowing that all of this was wrong and knowing that she was under spells, but she wouldn't do anything to break that spell. Like, I think one thing I will say though is I feel like the author almost wrote the main character to be too naive. Like, I read My Dark Vanessa, which is apparently a book that is completely based on Lolita, to the point where there were like allegations of it being a copy of I don't know the whole thing because I never read Lolita. I don't know. I can't speak on that, but I did read My Dark Vanessa, and that is about a high school student experiencing this. And that, it's just so much different when you're a teenager and you're like, I don't remember her exact age of like when it started and when it ended, but I imagine like 14, 15, 16, like it's so different. I don't know. I just feel like decision making should be a little bit better at the age of 23/24 to not even start this up, like to not even put yourself in that position. Like at this age, it didn't feel realistic for her to be this naive. I feel like when I was reading My Dark Vanessa, there was a lot, I felt a lot more sympathy for her because it made sense that she was so naive, and it just almost didn't make sense to me. It's like 23, 24, I don't feel like you should be this naive, but I guess I'm coming off really judgmental. I know that, and I think it was just because this is such a frustrating read. I was frustrated with everyone except Ophelia. Ophelia was her best friend who tried so hard. She tried so hard to be like good and supportive and like lead her down a better path. Ophelia really deserves the world, and I felt like I was Ophelia as I was reading too. I just wanted to be there because they had so many disagreements about this. They had fights about it. Ophelia was angry with her about it, and I just get her. Like, you can feel sympathy for a person, just still feel so angry about it. Cause she's like, what are you doing? Why are you self-destructing like this? Her friendships was like one of the highlights of this book as well. And I think also her bond with her dad and her bond with her family at the end, that was a highlight as well. And this also ends with her years later being married with a child, and they seem happy, and I love that. I'm glad that she got a chance to be normal. She also got an opportunity to go work in New York in publishing, so she left London, and that was amazing too. My favorite part of the ending though is that Richard dies. He was old when he died. I mean, he was old throughout the book, but he was like older, and he still lived a pretty long life, but he did not die from old age. I read that she got the call that he died, and I was just like, maybe he is facing his karma. But he was 74, which people live longer than that, but still, 74 years, pretty solid. So yeah, that's that. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna be recommending this book, and that's why I was like okay with having such a detailed spoiler section. I feel like you're not really missing anything if you don't read this. It's like definitely not one of my favorite books of this month. I think I'm gonna rate it 2.5 stars. I think I would read more by Hattie Williams as well. I appreciate the writing, and I appreciate how it was done. I appreciate how real, raw, vulnerable this was. I would read more by this author, maybe on a different topic. Anyway, that was just 3 days of me reading this book and not really showing you much of anything else. My apologies. The cold is like frying my brain. No, that doesn't make sense. You see what I mean? My brain's not doing well. I also think it's gonna snow on Sunday. I have been such a skeptic when it comes to people like panicking that it's gonna snow, and it's not because I don't think it's gonna happen. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. I know it has snowed here in the past, but I don't know. I just have this like feeling when it's not gonna happen. And it said that it was gonna snow like so many days last week and the week before that, and it never did. And I've been right. But I feel like it's really going to snow this weekend, and I'm worried for us because we obviously don't have anything to deal with that. So, interesting weekend ahead. Maybe I will film more of me just reading because I'm happy that it's happening on the weekend though, so I don't have to leave my house. Anyway, thank you for watching if you got to this point of whatever this video is. A vlog of me reading Bittersweet and being frustrated with men. I just remembered something. I just remembered how she was literally waking up in cold sweats over this man. Anyway, let's move on. I think this whole topic is frustrating for me. Thank you for watching. If you got to this point of the video, I don't know what you should comment. I can't think of anything. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you next week. Bye!